vergonha.
Que isso, agora que tinha que aparecer o rostinho.
Recording has started.
Bom, galera, o River vai apresentar aí pra gente como é que colocam os arquivos estáticos no S3. E aí, pra gente treinar inglês, a gente vai tentar meter aqui o inglês, meio aportuguesado mesmo, mas o que importa é colocar em prática aí. E se der tempo não, de repente, como é que eu rolar, de repente a gente fala alguma coisa sobre questões de processo seletivo, e essa seria a motivação também para fazer o processo, a aula em inglês, né? Porque você vai fazer processo seletivo para a empresa gringa, você vai ter que falar inglês mesmo, você teria que explicar o código em inglês. So, River, whenever you want to give your class.
Well, I don't see you because do you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Not here. Well, it's so simple to configure the settings.py to put our static files in the S3 on AWS. We need to put the files there. Only we need is this Boto3, sorry, a library, Boto3, and S3 folder storage. I will open my requirement. I create a requirement /AWS. When we install Boto3 here, semi dependencies will install it too, and Boto core, Django storage, doc.util, JMES path, Python the util. Well, this here, but I install together the collect fast, but I talk about this later. Okay. Install the apps, the libraries. We put the I do in what I say is I do the configuration. I put all configuration about the storage configuration together in a part of code. Well, because this I put this installed apps.append storage and S3 folder storage, and I don't put here together the installed apps. Okay, and here we configure the variables necessary to authenticate and working there. These two firsts were the access keys and the two access keys, o key ID and the secret access key. Okay, the bucket name. Okay, some parameters we need to pass to S3. I put here cache control with max age, this number 86400, and preload metadata, the possibility to create a bucket by code, and false kerosene. Some of these variables I seen in many tutorials in the internet. Okay, well, here we define the media folder in our bucket. Okay, here the S3 folder storage app to the full file storage. We define the path here, media, and media root and media URL. The same form we do to static assets. All of us now the difference between media folder and the static folder. Okay, well, here the files like JPG or PNG or any other images, but uploaded by the user of our site. Here, static files, the images .css.js we work in development. Okay.
Let me ask you: is this project going to work on a local machine once you are referring for all those?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. When I run the Python manage.py collect statics, the manage.py put the local files into the S3 AWS service.
But I mean, if you don't have an account there, so the project is not going to work locally, right? You will need to to make this setup there. If you don't have it, it's not going to work there.
Yes.
Okay, just asking, maybe something that we can work later to make work both locally without having an account on Amazon, so you can just run in fact using the bug and running locally as you do without having an account there on Amazon. But that's okay. Keep going. Sorry to interrupt.
No problem. No problem. The first way that I think to solve these problems is use the if with the local variable debug when only true in development environment. Okay, and I put this configurations that is the same when we create a Django project. Okay, but it's not a good thing, but if and else in the settings.py. And yesterday in the meeting, in the webinar with Henrique Bastos, I talked with Juan, and he told that to make he did the configuration. I asked him to the código dele, vai. And when I read,
you asked him to implement the same thing on his code, so he could test if it was working. Is that?
Yes. And I see that just because I use this situation of this conditional to solve my. When I see in code, I don't know, sorry, o pronome fugiu. O código dele.
His code.
Thank you. His code simple. He do this not the same way, but he did this configuration only in the setting.py, and I asked him about the local
environment.
Working,
Yep.
Yes, the local environment, and he told me this only working when we execute the Python manage.py collect statics. That's great because we don't need to execute this code only when we execute the collect static. No? Well, I don't know if I answer your question, but
can I make a question?
Okay.
So why don't you use two settings file, one for local and three in the case, one for local development, production, and base settings?
I think
so
because it's not necessary.
Then you could split the settings from AWS and local in between them.
Okay, I understand your question, but I think it's not necessary because first to work with AWS we need an account on AWS, okay? And we don't just in production, just in development environment. And when we have an account there in AWS, we don't need two settings.py.
So let me make another question. Let's say you are changing the front end of the application. You are changing the CSS file or the JavaScript file. Since the JavaScript and the CSS are being served by AWS, every time you make a change, you would need to run collect static before actually seeing the modifications in the browser.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. I don't think about this.
Yeah, and in fact, if you don't have internet connection, if you are, let's say, in an airplane, yes, you will not be able to make the change on and even access it, because you need probably if you have it on your browser cache, maybe you'll be able to run the website. Okay. But if you change it, but that's okay. That's something that we can think about later. Maybe the solution proposed by Augusto about creating another settings or doing some hacking, or maybe some if, because I had to use that on Sentry. But the only thing that I thought that using debug as the flag, it was not good. You could use you could use like maybe the, let's say, the AWS secret access key. That would be a better flag, because if you have defined it, okay, you have an account there. But if you haven't, probably it's because you are locally and running that's the only thing. Maybe you can put the if there, maybe you can split. But I just asked it because I was curious, because I agree with you, Augusto, that we need to run it locally without depending on external services. I agree with you.
Yeah, if we were using something like Webpack, we could serve the static files locally before actually sending them to AWS S3. But since this front end are not decoupled from the back end, maybe we could start with this hacking of setting this if debug and then changing for something better, as you said. But for me, I don't know if if it could be rise some problem. But if debug and adding the settings inside the condition, it's fine. It's fine to start with. It's not beautiful, but it's fine to start.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. It's not beautiful, but
it works.
Yeah, it works. In the after I do this code here, I will use I use it here.
No. But you see, Augusto, the only objection that I've done is that because he was using the debug there, and maybe sometimes you need to run in debug mode on production, but you don't want to how can I say that? You want to run the static files there, so maybe it's better depending on maybe another variable there, probably AWS secret access key.
But in that case, you could also start with, if you are using, I don't know in Windows, but if you are using some Unix, you could start something like debug equals to false, then Python manage.py start app. So but with that setup, you need to also use Python decouple or something to split the configuration before you pass the variable inside the command in the terminal, before you actually run it. So you will previously define the variable before using it. It may work. The command will become something a little bit larger, but maybe work.
Okay.
Well, after this configuration, we can discuss about the
Sorry to interrupt you and distract you from the main problem, which is generating the static files itself.
Okay, no, but it's no problem. But after this configuration, okay, I put here, and now I need to put here because the collect fast needs to stay above the Django country static files. It's necessary to put here the app collect fast in the installed apps. Okay, on this end here the AWS preload metadata and no, just a minute. I use the help preload metadata and static file storage. I need to define it because they collect fast. What collect fast do? It's don't when I say don't when I have example images of layout of the site. we don't change these images anytime, but always we do the deploy. These files will be sent to the S3 on AWS. Okay, with the collect fast, it's not it's don't permit. I don't know. I say this in this form, but it the library compare with the files we have in the S3 and the files that we don't have change. It's not.
You will only send the GIF of the static files, right?
Yes. When I put this configuration on the WTTD project, and I do the collect text by the first time, all the 129 archives will be sent to S3, and the second time 0 archives was be sent to S3. I think it's very good practice. Yes, I think it's a very good practice because don't
overload the network.
The collect fast. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
The collect fast library use the metadata to compare all files we have in S3 using diff. The library use the metadata files to proceed to send only files which not contains an S3 bucket.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Only files which have changed or that you have created as pretty new ones are going to be uploaded to the S3 bucket. This is the main idea that I got. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Riva. That it's going to send only those ones that have changed or the ones that you have created as pretty new static files there.
Yes. Well, but I found a problem here because we use deploy continuous deploy, okay, and I had some errors on the Travis CI. I show now we what I need to do to solve these problems. Okay. Okay. Let's go to Travis. My WTTD project is my laboratory. All I need to do first, I do in the WTTD. When it is okay, I do another project.
I would say that it works like your sandbox project, so you can play with the toys there. Yeah.
Well, here I need to put in settings this tree.
Yeah.
Environment variables, because he needed to test the collect stat, okay? And the first problem I had, it's not there, was the I put in the Telegram. I need to put the no input in the Python manage collect stat, because the collect stat do a question if we can we wow. In fact, we need to do the collect stat, because overwrite all the files, okay? And when here in this line of collect stat, we need to put no input, dash no input, okay? And okay, this pass, but after this I need to put to setting this environment variables. I see the Travis is very cool, because don't show the contents of the variable, include in the log, okay. Here.
Have you created a segregated bucket only for the Travis, or have you used the same credentials for the bucket that you are using on production?
I use the same bucket.
Okay.
I understand that the secret access key ID is the same of the production, because Rive used Travis to run all tests of project, and the next step to update the code base of production environment. So I understand then you need to set the access key ID, because you have to run the deploy continuous. Okay.
Okay.
That's right.
It's the same ambient environment. Okay. No.
My only question is that because he could make in a different bucket, because the collect start is going also to be run by Heroku by default. If you don't do nothing on Heroku and it knows it's a Django project, it runs, and because it was failing on our project that we are working at Python Pro website, I needed to disable the collector stack on Heroku. I had to set a environment variable there, explicitly telling Heroku to not run the collect stack there, because it was not working, and I needed to make the settings on AWS. But that's no problem.
The code in the project Python Pro has a error. I don't put the pull request only yet, not only, but I do the.
You fix it.
Yes, and I review all the code, and I found some errors in the first code that I put here, put there, okay. And now it's fixed. I think we don't have problem, because it's the same code working in my send project WTTD. It's working correctly, and now I think we don't have problems in the Python Pro project.
Okay.
Oi?
I also had the same problem with Heroku running collect static, and the problem was that there was no static root defined on my settings.py file.
Oh, okay.
When you don't have the settings, the static root defined, Heroku doesn't know where to put your static files, so it raises that exception.
Maybe on the Heroku or Travis?
Heroku.
Like this, Augusto, static root or static URL? URL.
No, static root.
This.
You need to define static root, os.path.join basic dir.
Okay, like this now.
This case with S3, the static root, we need to be the URL of bucket.
Yeah, I understand.
Because when you run the collect static from collect fast and Django storage, he sent all the files on the bucket. So to access these files by static of Django, then we need set the URL of bucket assigned in static root to access all the static files.
Yeah. What I'm seeing here is that you have a problem on your static assets section on this code, because look, you are defining static S3 path as static, and just below you are defining static root as static path. So your static root is just static, and Django doesn't know what static is. You need to use the OS library to build the path to the project folder. It's something like I will send you, but you need to pass the full. You need to define the full path to the folder, not just the name of the folder.
Yeah, I understand. But this is my first code about this. I follow the tutorial.
I say static root, but is static URL. Sorry.
Okay, but the OS library works with the
I think it's only locally.
S3.
It's not only, but by locally, or Augusto. I think when you are serving locally.
Because here.
Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay, but the OS library is just when you are working locally, but there with that configuration, it's not the bucket path, it's just a static folder.
Okay, but this is static folder. Here, I show that. Okay, I am in my VM Inventex, my bucket in the Amazon S3. This static path
is related to the bucket. Yeah.
This relates to the bucket, not to my project. And the structure of platform my project is here. VM like it VM Inventex static.
Okay.
And here I can.
But the
I
static
have
root,
admin, CSS, Django extension, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, understood, but it's not that what is defined. Take a look at the static root again. You know, the static root is not related to the path. You are just substituting the string. You may need to concatenate static S3 path with something else, with another path, to indicate that the path you need is the bucket path, because here, what is inside static root is simply static. It's just the string static. It's not pointing to any bucket, you know? Look, you are just substituting strings.
I understand the variable static S3 path is used to receive all the files when run the collect static. So,
Yes.
like I would say, I understand that static root it's working locally, but to production, it's used something static URL and not static root. Okay. This in case of the production, not locally.
Okay.
You understand? So my question about this is the static root defined this not raise the exception when run the collect static, because
Sorry, I don't understand.
because the collect fast override the collect static. Okay, so we need to define all the static files in all apps of Django project to collect all these files and put in in a single folder. In this case, the folder static on the bucket example. Okay, so the static root not confuse the collect static to find the static files, the all apps, and then copy these files and upload to S3 bucket.
Sorry, I don't understand. This is strange because see, I can put this variable like here because it's the same. Okay, understand what I do? Here,
Yes.
here. I was the word static, but the word static is here, and I when I use f strings, I change it here. Well, but again, I say I follow this, but I follow a tutorial to do this, and I am learning about when can I say is work, the code work, and sorry, I think it's necessary to do the refactoring. I don't know English.
Refactor, yeah.
But
Refactoring.
Refactor the code, but in this case the code was working, and well, it's the first thing we need to do. Okay.
Yeah.
do work, after factory the code, and after do better. And I think it need to study more about this configurations here, mainly because this factor here, okay, to working in the development environment. Well,
I'm looking to the S3 documentation with Django and using both 3 and Django storage. Yes. And when you are working with a bucket, you don't need to define this static root.
Yeah, because it's only the place where Django will put the files. I sent a link over there on Stack Overflow. It seems that the static root is only the place where collect stat will, of course, collect static files for deployment. So that's why maybe Boto is not interested in the static root. Once probably it's going to copy or collect it and not having to put the files on some folder. I think this is only when you are putting the static file.
Boto is overriding the path. Yeah. Boto, instead of creating this static files folder, Boto is overriding this configuration and to send the data, the static files to AWS. I don't know how, but it's interesting. We could look to the Boto source code and find what is the magic behind this.
Okay, before I do this configuration, this was the media folder in this on the static assets. When I run the code, this folders, admin, CSS, Django, font, etc., was put here in the root of the bucket. When I do this configuration, I could to separate the files, but the static assets is here, and I don't have the examples here. But if we have upload of file in the event text, the files uploaded it's put here in the event text /media. Okay. I have some example in VM range. I studying this. Well, I don't have. Sorry, but my assets is here, and when I do the upload, when I subscription, I don't know, do the cadastro de imóvel lá da porcaria do negócio que eu fiz. It's saved here in the media. Okay, when I upload the file by the app, and when it's possible because this configuration here.
What I bet, August, is that defining this static root would make sense probably when you are going to deploy using Nginx and you are going to configure so Nginx can serve the static files from some path in your system. So before you deploy the project, it's going to build on this static root, and you need to provide this configuration on Nginx telling where this path is, so Nginx can find it and serve the file. So probably for the AWS, we don't need it because Boto is going to handle the files and don't need a directory inside of our project when we are deploying it. I think so. I would bet, but I'm not sure, but I would bet it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Okay, Riva?
Yes.
You can say that we are paying the ads here. Yeah, you can say that.
Well, what thing I need to talk about this configuration? It's it. I don't have any more. I do the 3 requirement files. Okay, the requirements dev.
Yeah.
The requirements, and I do the requirements at AWS to separate the code and the libraries. If in the future we change the server when we save the static files, it's simple to improve the code to use this new server. For example, it's only.
And about the account creation on Amazon, it was simple. Was it simple?
Yeah. The only step is so stranger for me because I suffer so much because this when I in the permissions we needed to put a code like this. I think this is a JSON, okay?
Yeah.
And the only modification we need to do is put the name of the bucket here. Only after assign and create account in the AWS, when we access the Amazon S3 services, create a bucket, okay, shows a region, South America, São Paulo. Next. I don't mark anything here. Next. I need to put the user here.
Yeah.
I'm owner, okay, and create bucket, okay. After this, my 2 first buckets have this badge, the public access public, not public here. I need this return.
You have a course configuration there.
Yeah.
So probably you could allow only maybe you could I will see that later. You could maybe configure so only some domains maybe could access it or something like that.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Well, what? Okay then. I wrong here. Okay. This bucket has access publicly. Now
we highly recommend that you never grant any kind of public access to your This is what I was talking. Probably you have some way to allow only some domains or having some more complex rules, but that's okay. Just for playing around in the project, that's okay. Fine. Starting with it public. Okay.
Okay, it's so simple here. In my cases, So apps so simple like the Eventex and the Arrange. It's a VM wrench. I don't know imobiliária in English. Sorry.
Real estate, maybe something like that.
Yes, real estate. Yes, and here the put this there, which I think is was wrong because I broke the code in my tests, and only this to I used the S3 Amazon S3 only in this simple case, okay?
Okay.
And the permissions I put was so
click on the course
so
configuration. Just out of curiosity, you see allow origin, so maybe there you can set that the allow origin. You can put your domains where you can access it.
Okay.
So you could restrict the websites that can access your stuff, because once you start to upload media there, maybe you could do that. If you have this domain, you could try it. I'm not sure because I would need to, but this is all about course that you need to configure to being able to access it. But if you put your domain, you allow your browser to access it. But with this asterisk, it's going to be allowed for anyone. So anyone can just enter and try to access your stuff on your bucket.
Like here in the allow the hosted here.
Yeah.
In the like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
But this code is at the full. Okay, have the full code. The course configuration have the full code. But the policy don't have the full code. I suffer very much to find the simple to find the simple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 line. Oh, sorry, I counted the line with the numbers and okay. And to find this, and the only step we need to do is to change the name of the bucket here. Here is Ben tested Ben, and so on, and it works fine. Okay. Well, it's that when the tools, tiny tools. So that's all, folks. Yeah. The first 12 months of when you create your account here in AWS, you have all, I don't know, it's all services, but I know Amazon S3, ACS, I think free. By the way, for 12 months. After this period, I don't know what the cost because I don't research about it. Okay.
Okay.
Guys.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not alone.
No. Augusto, in fact, has sent some info about the related stuff, let's say, like that, with the static media there. Have you ever uploaded some file using those configurations just to test if Django was really uploading the file to your bucket and you could access it after the fact?
It's for me?
Oh, for anyone.
Yeah. So the problem that I said Heroku have with the media files is that the Heroku storage by default is volatile. It will not keep the path to the media file. So it will probably take the name you send with the name of the static file and add a hash number or a hash value to the file. So when you try to read the file, the media file with Django, you will not find the file because the name was changed. So I'm not sure, but I think Heroku has an add-on to make this management of static files and media files a little bit easier. But the good practice is to serve everything from S3, as River did with static and media files.
And do you think that maybe River is not doing that with that settings? That what you meant on your message on the chat?
No, my message on the chat was to answer the Gilson question about static.
Okay.
I will send the Heroku add-on for static files.
Any questions more?
River, you can test this media file stuff. You have a model inside this Django project.
No.
If you want to test, you can create a simple model and add an image file and test if the Django will send the file. Yeah, to test the upload of media files.
Okay. In the down to the project, I don't, but in the VM Renty, I show to you. I tried the upload and the work without problems.
Okay.
I try now here. I do a cadastro de imóveis here to. Just a minute.
So Clayton is sent a question to the chat asking if it wasn't easier to use Nginx to serve the static files. Maybe if you are also serving the Django application with Unicore and Nginx, it may be simple. But if you are already using Heroku to serve the Django application, you will need to configure another machine from the ground up, install Nginx, and use that machine with your Heroku Heroku configuration so your application that's running on Heroku can find your machine. So for me, that makes no sense.
I think you can run Nginx in your own project. I'm going to check that, because when I was checking on the link about the continuous delivery, I saw some different configurations there for the proc file. I think the guys was using, in fact, Nginx in front of your service, not a green unicorn there. I'm going to share the link with you guys so you can check on that.
Heroku by default uses Nginx to serve every Django application, because it works something like that. You have your Django project, and locally you run Python manage.py run server. So that server is just a development server. If you run manage.py run server in production, you may find some memory leaks. And also, the Django debugger will expose some variables from your project. Unicorn it is a better USGI server. So you can use Unicorn in production you should use Unicorn in production with your Django app.
Yeah.
But you also need to use Nginx in front of Unicorn.
Yeah.
You need to use Django, Unicorn, and Nginx. Nginx will also work as a reverse proxy to your application. So Nginx will communicate with your Unicorn. In fact, Unicorn will generate a unicorn.sock application, sock file, and Nginx will find that sock file and send traffic to the Unicorn server.
I followed the first link that I sent. You can check the proc file from the guy that shared the stuff about the continuous delivery. And if you check the web, let me share here so people can see on the video as well. Oh, this one, yes. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yeah.
So check this line here. So it seems the guy is already doing that, of course, running the green unicorn behind Nginx server. It seems on the same machine. What? Okay, go ahead.
But I think he did that because he also added this unicorn.conf file. Maybe when you override the default unicorn configuration on Heroku, you also need to start Nginx to find the unicorn process. I will send you the link.
Got it. Yeah, but I mean that way, if he's like accessing the Nginx, could he like only configure the Nginx on the same machine that is running the green unicorn just to serve the static files there? Oh, but
on Heroku,
yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't think so, because you need to what I understand that is he's just calling the unicorn process from Nginx. He don't have access to the Nginx configuration file.
Oh, okay, got it.
Let me see this project. Oh, in fact, he does have access to the Nginx, but take a look. He's also overriding the default Nginx configuration file.
In fact, when I saw that, I thought in asking. In fact, I need to ask if that was the right way, only running green unicorn on Heroku. But if you say that they are already using Nginx, so I just need to expose the green unicorn stuff there. so make the process easier. So I don't have to know nothing about the Nginx at all to start my project there.
Yeah, by default, you don't need to override any Nginx configuration on Heroku. Heroku will use Nginx to serve your application. If you take a look at the Google Chrome on the developer tools, with some page that's being served by Heroku, we will see that Nginx is the
headers.
Server.
Yep.
Yeah, the headers. So, but by default, you just need to define the proc file to start the unicorn process. You don't need to do anything else, because let's think about it. If you are using Heroku to don't have headaches with the infrastructure of your application, if you start changing everything, it makes no sense to use Heroku. Heroku is also expensive.
Yeah, that's why I prefer using I think the best way is using the S3. Otherwise, if any Nginx start to serving, that was my answer on the chat as well, because it's better using a CDN, so your server don't need to handle that traffic at all. And probably the price of S3 is very, very much cheaper than running it all inside Heroku.
I have some clients using S3 and I just pay cents, you know. Also, when I'm using Heroku for a project, I always use a CDN in front of the application.
Okay, that's it. More questions for River? Anyone?
No, I'm so cool about.
Clayton, Gilson, Thiago. Okay, that's it.
That's it.
I'm going to stop the recording right now. If you decide to talk about more stuff, or maybe job interview, tech interview, we can start another record, so the video will not be so huge, more than it is already right now.